merchandise. Last year on this channel, one of my goals was to set up a merchandising store, mostly for my own entertainment, because I have mugs with my logo, baseball caps, hoodies, t-shirts. I'm my own best customer, and I wanted some new hoodies and I wanted some new designs. I got some new designs and I love it. It's very simple. It's not so much Orangepixel, it's more gamer type designs. Let me just hang on, let me show you. Right, so this is the first design, and it's very simple. It's a little bit, like I said, gamery. Press X to start. Different sizes, different colors, hoodies, t-shirts. There's more. I have a couple of other designs as well. I have a another hoodie with XY, AB buttons. Oh, this one is also cool. Hang on. So a little sweater with almost perfect on it. 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's funny. I like it. It's very comfortable. So how it works is that I mostly create designs, and then it's all handled by this Spreadshirt service, which is a store and has all the stuff and materials. I just create designs and upload them, and it's pretty cool. We have all these designs. This is the UX Gamer design. These are the new ones. Press X to start, live bar, continue, yes, no. And then we have a bunch of pixel art designs I made, and of course my logo. And if you click on something like It's Science, you can pick on what you want. A bag, these bags are very good. I got a couple with Orangepixel logo there. Very nice, very easy. And then we have, of course, mugs, caps, shirts, hoodies, everything. It's pretty cool to have. And like I said, it's mostly for my own entertainment and enjoyment. I like wearing stuff with my graphics on it. And I feel very comfortable in it. So anyway, if you want to check it out, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about it. The rest of the video is going to be about residual, as the last couple of weeks have been about residual, as my whole life seems to be about residual. Just kidding, I still like residual. I still like working on the game, which is amazing. After the intro, I need a new jacket. Yeah, I think I need a new. Go watch the intro. See you after the intro. So I talked about my Trello to-do list on this channel a couple of times, but how do things appear on that to-do list? It's not magic. It's actually, when you start a new game development project, it's very easy to fill up with ideas and stuff. But at some point, those ideas are implemented or removed. And then what? So the first thing I did this week was boot up the game, just like any gamer would do. Start the game, don't think about code or change or anything. Start up the game, start playing from the beginning. Just go through every step of the game and then write down everything that I don't like or I think needs improvement. Doesn't matter how big or small it is, just everything that comes up in my head at that time, I write it down and we'll worry about it later. But that's how I fill up a to-do list. And let me tell you, after that first gameplay session, I had a very long list of things that needed to be done. And we're not talking about huge changes or new features or anything. Minor, tiny, irritating little things that are not as they should be. I can actually show you one that's not fixed. Hang on, let's boot up the game. Alright, so the intro scene I talked about this a couple of times, and this is a good one. As you can see, the background is very nice. It fits and there's no weird seams. But one of these background layers had a very annoying seam in the middle and it just wasn't looped on. I think this is the one. You see here, there's a line running over here and the background isn't looping. There's a seam there. It's very tiny, annoying little thing. And those kind of tiny details are the things I've been adding to my to-do list all week because they just need to be fixed. We're working towards something that's going to be releasable in a couple of months. And it's better to get all these things fixed now and not have to do all those things at the end of the project, because then I'm not going to be in the mood for it. So fix all these tiny little things this week, next week, fix them. So what we ended up with this week is a huge list of mostly things being fixed, not so much added. Well, there are some things that got added, but
Those are also part of the whole stuff, like the ship mission wasn't there yet, and we still need a couple of missions to be implemented before the player can completely fix his ship and get off the planet. Voice sounds needed to be added, been on my to-do list for a while actually. A bunch of these things, and then all these fixes. Things like the inventory screen could be, it's centered above the player, but if the player was on the complete left side of the game world, the inventory screen would actually render partly outside your display. Silly little things like that. It hardly happens, but when it does, it's all these little things needed to be fixed and improved.
So a funny side product of doing these weekly YouTube videos is that every week there's a little bit of pressure on me to create something new and interesting that I can show you guys in this video, and not just talk about all these things, because every game development project I've ever worked on, and it's been, I think we're closing in on 100, all those projects at some point get into this phase where it's mostly fixing, tweaking, changing things around and not really adding a bunch of new extra stuff, which makes it very hard to show the game around or show the game on social media, because there's not a bunch of interesting new GIFs or videos or whatever I can show to people. It's just doing a lot of work that you hardly see, but is very required. But of course, I also added some new stuff to the game because, well, that's just more entertaining and interesting for me to talk about on these videos. It also gives me a good topic for these videos. So let's watch at one of the things I've been adding to the game.
So the ship is now damaged slightly more than it used to be. There's all this black stuff, and you can see this ship is not going anywhere. It needs to be repaired and fixed, and that's what I've been adding this week. So first we'll place a little field generator so that we can teleport back and forth. Now we need to do a little cheating because we need stuff that we only get later in the game, but as a developer I have some powers that will allow me to do it a little bit sooner. So here we go. As soon as you have these resources and you have all the stuff required to fix the ship, I'm not going to tell you what it all is because it might be a bit of a spoiler, but if you have the right stuff, you can to fix this ship. So let's repair the ship in this little animation. Alright, I must admit this is a little bit underwhelming and it needs a little bit of extra oomph and maybe just some special effects when the ship is brand new and all the black stuff is fixed and damaged. It needs a little bit of work, but it's pretty cool that this is now part of the game. It's another mission and another step closer to fixing your ship.
I have been struggling a little bit with getting all these missions up and running, mostly because I wasn't sure what type of missions I wanted, but also how to build this structure and keep it understandable to the player, which I think is going to be the biggest problem here. There's so much to do and so much things you need, and making sure the player knows what's required and needed. That's gonna require some testing and some changing and updating and fixing, but we'll do that later. For now, I decided to just add the missions I know are needed. So that's fix your ship, repair your engines, basic stuff like that. And then we'll just see how easy it is for the player to understand all these things and if we need extra instructions or hints or something. So in order to repair your ship, you'll need resources and you'll need to do stuff with those resources. For that we have a bunch of gadgets, and the amount of gadget is growing. We of course have mining devices, but we now have a huge collection of devices. Let me just create a little game and show you the whole setup of all the tools we have available right now. Hang on, I'm just gonna do my magic stuff on the keyboard and in the game.
So I'll cheat a little bit and give myself all the devices required for this. I'll just have to figure out which all the devices are. So we now have a bunch of devices, and then we have the new devices. We have a quartz refinery. have a metal compressor. We now have a furnace. I think that's all the devices we have. Right, first let's place a field generator. Then I clear out this area. I'm very lucky to be on this planet. It has a long flat area, which is great to just install all these devices. So here we go. We have a metal, small metal mining device. This will mine metal out of the ground. As you can see, all the blue stuff, this is where metal is. Place it anywhere on blue stuff and it will do its thing. Then we have a deuterium, also very important. Let's just place that one. Oh, let's just place it over here. Not a lot of deuterium there, but we can mine some coal. We can mine for graphite, and we can, of course, silicon refinery. We will need that later on, and we will need a quartz refinery. So let me just place it over here. And then we also have a quartz refinery. Oh, we have two quartz refineries. All right, back it up. I need a silicon refinery. That's, oh, we also have two of those. I'm losing track. We have so much stuff. We have a furnace. This is the latest one. I added it this week. It will heat stuff up to create other stuff, pretty much. So as you can see, we now can set up a nice little camp full of devices, and we already have metal, coal, and deuterium. So let's just grab all this stuff. And we have some graphite. And just to protect it all, we have these protection beams, which I talked about last week. Let's also put one over here. And this is our nice little setup.
And all these devices I call deployable, which means you can pack them up and deploy them anywhere else in the world. So you can set up your base pretty much wherever you want, down in the cave or maybe just on top on the surface. You'll just have to be sure to protect some of these devices, because the resources they create might attract certain creatures that will grab these resources, and that's pretty much not what you want when you're trying to survive and you need these resources. So getting a nice collection of deployable devices, making the game interesting, setting up a camp somewhere. So what would be really cool is that players eventually tell me, I fixed my ship, I was ready to go, but I didn't want to leave the planet I was on, so I just stayed around and just kept on surviving. I'm on day 400 something. That would be a very cool thing to have, just having players to completely explore the planet, every nook and cranny of the whole planet, and set up camp and just survive. That would be very interesting to hear about. So if you ever play the game, when it's done, and you happen to be on a planet that you really like and enjoy and don't want to leave there, let me know. Then I know I accomplished something that I set out to do. And that's it for this week's video. Hope you enjoyed it, because to be honest, I'm still recording now and haven't edited yet, but it feels like I was all over the place. Let me know in the comments if this was a good video or not. And hopefully I fixed everything in the edit and it was a good video. If not, next week will be better. So see you next week. There's a good reason to come back next week. See you next week. Bye. Oh, cool. Hang on. This is the stuff you don't see in the video. And then we jump backwards and we have a cool effect. So it feels like I was a little bit incoherent and I think I'm done. I don't have anything. I'm not sure this video was a good video. No, not sure. This